Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Excessive, bringing you your NPBL Season 4 recap. I'm joined by my Team Stealth Rocks teammate, Marv. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's Marv. What's up? Super excited to do this draft recap video with my buddy Excessive.
Yeah.
Should be awesome.
Team Stealth Rocks, it's the best move in the game. If you think otherwise, there's something wrong with you. I think me and Marv would both agree on that. You got anything else to start off before we get right into these draft recap video?
Let's get right to it.
Okay, we're gonna start off with Champ Lando. Hopefully, you guys see this slide right now. The Champ Lando, the coach of the Seattle Seadras, season three record 8-3, lost in the quarterfinals to Adam in the Pittsburgh Pre-Marinas. Lando is the season two champion. Very skilled battler, very skilled coach. Always one of the most dangerous coaches in the league, in my opinion. What do you think about his team overview, really quick?
Well, when I look at Lando's team, I get the shivers down my bones. He's got a lot of threats, and you prep for one, and he brings the other. You're done. It's good night. And Lando's certainly got the skill and the history, as you said, to really bring this to life. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of defense there.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Top tier. Again, we're not going to read off the entire roster for you guys. Shaman does a great job with his power rankings, kind of going through that. Tons of setup threats, lots and lots of setup threats. The Mega Sceptile is a very interesting but cool pick. Do you notice any theme with how there were certain Pokemon that got moved down in the tiering system and then they were immediately drafted by Champ Lando? You want to comment anything on that?
I think that's a little suspicious. I think that's a little funny, but certainly taking advantage of good value in the tier. That's always a smart
That's
thing
for
to do.
sure. With Infernape and Xurkitree both got moved down and immediately drafted. To be fair to Lando, both me and Marv had opportunities to draft these Pokemon and chose not to. So we're just messing
Yes.
with our boy here.
Yeah.
Really quick overview here. I agree with Marv's general assessment. Uh, Defensive capabilities aren't the best. And oh crap, I forgot to pull up Lando's thoughts on his draft. I pulled that up. Lando wanted to point out that he has a tail glow core here, very cool tail glow core. Really plans on using Aurora Veil heavily to kind of shore up his defensive capabilities or lack thereof. And from there, a little bit of subpar hazard removal be the only thing I could think of besides Kamala. Anything else you see for hazard removal here?
He's got that Mandibuzz sitting there.
Oh, Mandibuzz. There you go. So maybe not great. What about
I
hazard?
feel like he's going to really rely on that Mandibuzz, bringing it to a lot of matches.
Yeah.
Brings great utility with that mon and just great bulk in general. I don't know. I could see him setting a lot of tailwind, defogger, slow U-turn, Rocky Helmet user. I see him bringing it to a lot of matches.
No,
Just kind of
that's for
bringing in his Zerk, bringing in his Manaphy, and just which I do. Yes, those are his two Z move users as well. So you can run that Z Rain Dance, that Z Electric Terrain, in even the Z Hypnosis, which is not 100% accurate.
correct.
Mind you.
I think Lando was misinformed when he thought it was 100% accurate. So we won't beat this team to death anymore. Let's kind of briefly. Lando wanted to mention that, of course, over half his team has U-turn. Of course, he's captain U-turn. If Lando had his symbol for his team should be just the move U-turn, whatever that is. I think if you look up U-turn in the dictionary, it's a picture of Lando. But anyways, going forward, with our rankings, me and Marv just kind of briefly ranked these. He ranked them, and because I'm a special snowflake, I graded them. And also, we included Shaman's power rankings that he rushed out today for us. So thank you very much for doing that, Shaman. You and Shaman both giving this a four. Shaman with fourth, you with third. Anything else you want to mention about this team? Why you give it third, or you think you've covered that so far?
I think I'm pretty good.
Okay. Briefly covering my grades, how I'm doing it. We didn't really communicate on this properly till right before recording, so it was too late to change this stuff. I'm going kind of with a system of A is a strong core, a strong core of defensive, offensive Pokemon with little to no weaknesses. B is a strong core, small weaknesses, but can be played around. C is average core with weaknesses. D, average core with many weaknesses. And I didn't give anyone an E, but that would be a subpar core. So kind of again, briefly giving everyone a rank. So I think this is a very strong, solid team that has a little bit of issues from the defensive standpoints, but with proper play and prep, I think Lando's very capable of playing around it. So let's go ahead, Marv. Have you introduce the next team, which is actually yours truly.
All right, introducing the Detroit Dracos, coached by yours truly, Mr. Excessive. So yeah, I'll offer my thoughts here. Certainly not, super try hard. I know you were kind of wanting to do a team with a lot of mons that you truly treasure, like that wall rain, and you know, the Obama snow. I believe that's kind of close to your heart too. But yeah, I looking at it here, I love Clefable. It's one of the best stealth rockers in the game, and we all know stealth rocks is the best move in the game. So shout outs to that pick. Yeah, I just the cores are in the synergy are fantastic. The mons with the base stats themselves, not so much, but you're very skilled in your team building, and your planning, your prep, and even your play. So you're going to be able to make it work. I like how you kind of cover a lot of weaknesses with the other mons, like for example, Metagross's weakness to fire. You got the Flash Fire Chandelure, Hydreigon, um, and Tentacruel and things of that nature, and Hydreigon's weakness to Fairy and Bug, with the Metagross, the Fable. It all just kind of works. But I don't know. What are your thoughts there about
um,
what you pitched there?
Well, I mean, I won't beat it dead because I did go over my draft recap video, which hopefully most people have watched at this point. But yeah, I tend to agree with you. The synergy between the cores are pretty cool. I think they'd be fun to play with. But I'm definitely lacking base stats, and my speed tiering isn't great when compared to some of the other teams. And in the past, I've dealt with this I had a Trick Room threat last year, which is always in the back of my mind. And you were the only team I really employed Trick Room against successfully. So my point being,
I value speed
you do.
too
We'll
much.
cover you when we get to your team. But yeah, a fun team, not super try hard. Last season, season 3, for better or for worse, took a lot out of me, and not that it was a bad thing. I enjoy playing competitively, but it was stressful on different levels, and there was other players in the league that kind of voiced not frustration, but a little bit of apprehension about maybe the intensity that I was bringing every week, or the try hard that I was bringing every week. So I wanted to tone it down for at least this season, and then maybe ramp it back up next season. With that all being said, I'm still going to play to win. I'm not throwing. I'm not memeing each week. I'm gonna bring what I need to try to beat you. But again, I agree with you. Base stats might hold me back a little bit here, but again, we're just trying to have some fun. I'm really looking forward to using Walrein. I don't know why I like the Pokemon, but I do. Shaman with a solid rank of 10. I think he even messaged me to apologize ranking me for 10. Dude, Shaman, don't apologize. I deserve a solid 10 with this draft. I didn't even. Usually, Marv can second me on this one. I'm very meticulous about planning and prepping and thinking about every little thing. I didn't do it with this team, and you could see towards the beginning of the draft my core looked pretty good, even considering the maybe not optimal minds I was drafting. But then eventually, I just started picking random stuff, and you could tell. So Shaman with the 10th ranking. Make sure to check out his power rankings in the doc if you're an NPBL fan. Marv, you want to cover anything else with your ranking, or are you good?
Just basically, I just want to add this little snippet. Like, yeah, I would go to you for like some advice on some draft picks, or was asking you about your stuff, and just I was surprised about your kind of nonchalantness. Like, oh, I'll pick this or I'll pick that. It was just so out of character for you. You normally
Dude,
got backup plan to this, and then subset B and subset C and
yeah.
backup plan A.
I do enjoy doing that,
This should
but
be fun.
there's a time and place for it. And this season, I was more focused on trying to produce YouTube content and doing a good job with that. So my energies were in a different part. Hopefully, as I get more used to recording and editing, I can kind of get some back into that much try harding, but we'll see for now. Again, my self grade, which is always weird to grade yourself, gave myself a D. Average core, many weaknesses. It's pretty obvious. Ton of ice typings for liabilities. Thunderous Scott's flying typing. Weaknesses to the best move in the game. I'm going to struggle with some ground spam, for example, and we'll cover that when we get to you. I must struggle with some of that, but should be a fun league overall. Okay, we're going to move on to the next team, which is Ivan. Your boy Ivan coached the Chicago Chadots 2-9 last season, finished 11th out of 12th. But this is the meme lord himself, Ivan, coming at you with Chadot spam, boom bursting everybody. This team, man, what do you think about this team?
Take a look at that logo.
Oh, I
Chad
know.
Davin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's classic. Classic Ivan. Shout out to Ivan again for making our league logo. Great job on that, bud.
Yes, thank you.
Ivan's team. You know, it's Ivan. He took Chada, I think, with his first or second pick. I think he took it on the wheel. I think he had the wheel pick. Is that correct?
Yeah, he had the wheel.
So yeah, he took Jirachi Chada. I don't know what order exactly, but Chada's Chada. It's kind of a threat if you throw specs on it. I think boom bursting you, scarf and boom bursting you is definitely a thing, and it's painful. Some interesting offensive threats with Weavile and Cartana. The defensive core doesn't exist with this team, but that's okay. Ivan, the thing I appreciate about Ivan is, unlike some of us in the league, myself included, where we get very emotional and passionate about the game, for better or for worse, Ivan just has fun with Pokemon, and he seems to have a very healthy relationship with Pokemon. He doesn't care if he loses, he doesn't care if he wins, he memes on you, and that's what his goal is. Lord Shadot himself spared me last season. He chose to click Defog instead of killing Conkeldurr to make sure that Shadot knew that he could kill Conkeldurr, but he decided to show mercy that one. So, any thoughts, Marv? What do you think?
I would just like to say all praise Lord Chadot, the merciful. The merciful.
For sure.
He spared Conk, and we should value that. But I do want to also give a special shout out to Mr. Meme. The meme pick there. Don't sleep on that Psychic Fairy. Yes, he is a fairy type. Dual screens, and I don't know what other moves he gets. Maybe like double slap or, attract. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it.
Now,
I'm really excited for Mr. Meme.
This isn't fair to you, but because I'm actually playing Ivan week 1, what is Mr. Meme's base speed? Because it's way faster than I thought it was.
I have no idea. Was it like 90?
It's 90 exactly. It's base speed.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a complete guess.
Yeah, no, it's
but,
not.
I mean, yeah, I knew that. What?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot faster than I thought it was. But yeah, Mr. Meme, the threat coming at me. So, yeah, I have no idea what to expect for Ivan. Probably going to get swept because I'm going to try to meme on him, and obviously you can't out meme the meme himself.
What do you think of Mega Steelix? Can I get your thoughts on that?
It's really good in doubles. I've never used it before or seen it used before.
Yeah, me neither.
It's really strong defensively. It's got some ridiculously high base physical defensive stat. It can be invested pretty heavily. So I don't know much about it. Haven't calced much about it. It's a low tier Mega Pry for a reason, is my guess. So I don't know. I really don't know a ton about it.
All right, fair enough.
So I'll get back to you when I team build later this week. I don't know.
All right.
Grade D. Just like my team, average core, many weaknesses. You need to go into depth about your 11th ranking, or are you good to move on?
I will just say that it was. I ranked it higher than one team, and we'll get to that.
I noticed that. That might be the team up next, I think. Shaman ranking this 12th, the worst team in the league. That's in real life friends doing that to each other. Go Shaman. All right, introduce our next team here.
All right, here we go. Next team is the team that I ranked last, and no disrespect, but this is TP, coach of the Massachusetts Metapods. Now, TP always keeps it real, and he always keeps it good. He drafted a full U-turn team, and it's that's pretty great. Shout outs to the Probo Pass with the Volt Switch, and yeah, so I don't know to fully analyze this. I mean, he's got the pretty offensive Firewater Grass Core, although his Whimsicott can be pretty. That can be a pretty annoying Pokemon, and I know you've used it well in the past.
It's one of my
If you're
favorite fairy types
that.
for sure.
I don't know. Just I don't know about this team. It's like very hyper offensive. I don't know Greninja and Beedrill and Darm and probably Ambipom are just like soft like a piece of tissue paper. Just
Yeah.
there's no defense. Nothing can take a hit. I don't know if you run like focus ashes on stuff. Not really a whole lot of removal there either. I don't know. Thoughts?
Yeah, TP, really quickly, TP pretty much said exactly what you said. Full vert to him because he wanted to be Mimi. He even said he has bad and low defenses himself. So I'll also read out this is a quote, lack of a ground type makes my team very vulnerable to electric types. Thanks, TP. Thanks for letting the league know that. But hey, it's true. So he'll have to figure out a very creative way to work around that.
It
Overall,
seems like a really fun team though. Like I don't know, and I was really impressed with Torrentee and Raikou, those first two picks he made, and then you can only do so much when you're trying to meme. But
yeah.
I don't know.
3-8 last season for TP. Joined the league. Gave me probably one of my closest regular season games last season. Um, so yeah, I think he's got it in him to be one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, he chose to go the meme route instead, but that's okay. Got to have fun with Pokemon. Everyone has their own fun. Shaman giving this a ninth out of 12 power rankings. I believe that's actually one spot higher than me. So Shaman believes in the U-turn core more than the Snow Hail core, and I'll take issues with that later. But yeah, you with 12, worst team in the league. It just sounds like you don't think you'd take a hit. Me giving it a C rank, average core with some weaknesses. The offensive threats are real. Not really more to go into. I guess we haven't been talking about Z captains, and I don't feel like going back. Torrentee, great move pool.
Great Z captain.
Used it very well last season. Do you want to cover anything else before we move on to the next team?
I mean, basically, I'll just comment on the Z users. Alolan Persian, one of the best low tier Mons, especially with the Z parting shot. I believe that's got some sort of mechanic to heal you or your teammates up to full, and then Torrentee just basically you can just. I'm not one for bringing like the same set every week, but if you just bring Fly Z, Torrentee, nothing really wants to take
All right,
that,
all
and
right.
it's always a good bring. But
Marv brought it up,
that's
so
what I
we
got.
got to talk about it. Marv brought it up, so we got to talk about it. TP, for the love of God, don't bring AV Incineroar slash AV whatever is going to be your AV Incineroar on this team every single week.
I have faith.
That's what was the one thing me and Marv memed on him so hard in chat because I was like, guess what TP brought this week? AV Incineroar? Yep, AV
Yep.
Incineroar. It was true like 9 out of the 12 weeks, and it was a running joke.
We
Again,
love you, TP.
we love you, TP man. You're a great player. We like to tease you. Hey, I have an obsession with assault vest as well. One day I'll publish statistics about how many assault vests I bring on Pokemon, and it's probably surprisingly high. We're gonna move on here though. Try to keep this video a little bit concise. We're already at 18 minutes. Uh, Shaman, Shaman, our boy, 8-3, lost in the semis to Marv. Um, yeah, really dangerous team he drafted this year. I'm really excited to see Shaman kind of embrace rising up and trying to put together a really competitive, solid season. He's made playoffs 2 years in a row. I believe, yeah, 2 years in a row as far as I know. Last season he did it with a subpar team, in my opinion, and he still made it to the semifinals. So yeah, Shaman's got his own thoughts on his team. Gave himself a third. He ranked himself the third best team in the league, and you the second. I think I only gave out 2 A's, maybe 3. So even I said this was a strong core with little to no weaknesses. So let's dig into this little core right here. This 11 Pokemon he's drafted. What do you think?
This team is fantastic. Just to kind of piggyback on what you said there, with what Shaman did last season with that funky team that he drafted, and now actually drafting a real team with real threats and covering weaknesses, and just it's going to be really exciting to see what he does. He's I think he's one of the best team builders in our entire league, and now with an actual team should be good. I mean, you got Celesteela, very versatile. probably the best mon in format. Arguably, he, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed by the greatness of the draft. Well done, Shaman.
No, for sure. I agree. There's when again, me and Marv both we were recording this video because of work relatively early, so we haven't had the time to really dig into everyone's team super in depth. But at first glance, I can't see much wrong with this team. Um,
No, I
a ton of resists for a lot of his common threats. There's a lot of synergy within inbuilt weaknesses being covered by either abilities or typings of other mons. Um, yeah, he's got good hazard control, hazard removal, good hazard setters. I mean, off the top of my head, you got Mamo, Gligar. Those is only two stealth rockers. No, sorry,
uh,
Archeops. Archeops does as well.
Archeops.
So
Yep.
I would say three
He's
stealth
got
rocks
great
users.
removal.
Yeah, I mean he's loaded with a lot of different threats here. Um, yeah, I can't see much wrong with this team, and I expect big things from Shaman this season. Um, again, you don't have to win every game. Between Lando and Marv, Shy Crow has also got a solid squad. Adam, you might take a loss or two, but you can't obsess about that. It's all about the playoffs. It's about making it to those playoffs and getting that ring. And I really think this team is. You can't be like, well, I drafted a meme team this season. I drafted a bad team. This team's solid up and down. I guess the only thing I want to add, I love Mega Altaria. It's always one of those ones I've borderline wanted to draft myself. You in a second here after I'm done talking can go into Savali a little bit more. Really quickly, I'll talk about Celesteela. I've drafted Celesteela in the RDL, the Royal Draft League. It was a 3DS league that I drafted, and probably the most competitive league I've ever been in, and where I learned the most about Mons from the single season. And I actually was my team had some other issues with it. Celesteela can be it's tricky because it can wall entire teams if you don't come ready for it or prep for it well. Um, any thoughts on Celesteela? I believe you had it as well before, and we've both maybe kind of struggled or made Celesteela look very mediocre compared to where it's tiered at. And
Yeah,
so I don't know.
yeah.
I'm sure Shane was a great builder, and that won't happen with him, and he covered a lot of it. But do you want any thoughts here before we move on?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty confident that Shaman can use it well, but I don't know. Yeah, I found it kind of underwhelming. I don't know. I just couldn't get it to work for me. I wanted to bring Leech Seed Protect, and then the times I'd want to bring to out of my set, it just didn't quite work. It's a difficult mon to use, kind of like a clef key or something like that. But if used well, and I have seen people use it terrifically, it can do a lot of damage. And then he's built really well around that with, let's just kind of go briefly with it, like a thick fat mammo, resist to fire, and then an immunity to electric. His only two weaknesses there with Celesteela. And then Volt Absorb Zero Aura, just come in on a Thunderbolt, and then you get a chance to bulk up with Sarah, or you get a chance to sub, or do whatever. But big threats there. Briefly, I'll talk about Silvally. Um, I'm scared with this in Shaman's hand. 95 all around. I mean, that you can make this a bulky boy. Whatever you need for the type match for the matchup. You can even run like a SD flame charge, two coverage move set, parting shots, a great move, pivoting into a banded mammo, or this just a great team. And I really like Silvally. Great pick up there.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on. Have you introduced this next team, Marv?
All right, next up we got our boy Gumi, coach of the Glasgow Goomies. I refuse the team name change. No, he is coach of the Wraith Rabambis. He's trying to move over to that Rabambi
Change
name
his
there,
branding.
but
He's changing his
mhm,
branding.
it's always Goomy. Goomy to me. But anyways, I love the bulky nature of this draft. There's elements that aren't so great, but Umbreon, Mew, um, Girder, and Miss Magus, that whole Psychic Dark fighting and Ghost core there. I've used a pretty similar core to that in the past, and it really worked well for me. So I'm hoping Gumi can use that well. Mew, I love this mon. I really hope Gumi can cook up, some really great sets. Because, I mean, it's all, Mew's what you want it to be. You can bring it stealth rocks, will-o-wisp, all you want, but if you can really cook up that one set that preys upon your opponent's weakness, Gumi could really use it well this season. Could do well for him. But he's got good rockers. Mew, Gliscor, Ferrothorn. I mean, I think that's it, but those are three solid rockers. Great bulky Umbreon, wish passing. Girder's a great low tier threat. He's got Webs and Rabombi, which I think he took very early in the draft. I don't remember, but
I think he took it
uh,
right. He picked it fourth, and I was the fifth. So he took
wow.
Ribambe, and then I took
Okay.
Hydreigon, and then people
That was
left.
a bit weird, but all in all, he actually drafted some pretty good threats there too. He uses Victini well. The one thing, and I think Shaman, I'm going to kind of piggyback off this thing, but like I don't know, the Politoed and the Kingdra little mini Raincore there, it could work. It could work for him, I suppose.
Yeah,
If you don't bring Victini that week or whatnot, I don't know, but I actually like his team pretty well. I think this is going to be a bounce back year for Gumi because season 2 was great for him. He took me down in the playoffs and in the regular season that season, and Gumi's got it in him. So look out.
yeah.
Have fun.
To go off that 3-8 season three. I think he was a playoff team season two, and he made it to the semifinals. So I expect him to hopefully come back into form because Gumi is one of those borderline teams that I think could challenge and go make a deep playoff run if he really commits himself and takes team building seriously. He has a tendency sometimes to just like almost forget to prep for certain things on his opponent's team. I remember there might have been twice last season he got 6-0'd, and it was like very uncharacteristic. But again, everyone's got different time commitments, so I understand that. Um, yeah, I don't need to go super more in depth. You are the Mew master in my book. I will bow down to your Mew sets. I've seen some crazy stuff. If I'm known as the whimsicott prankster guy, you blow me out of the water knowing the Mew guy. This guy right here, Marv. I've seen him run. I think was that NPL season one where you ran the vacuum wave on the Bisharp. Into the Bisharp? Was that NPL or was that a different
I
league?
think it was a Weavile, but yeah.
Oh my god, the vacuum wave. That was a great. He thought he trapped you, but you had trapped him. Then there was the frickin' This one I still have nightmares about. Sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat at night, guys. ATL. Screw the ATL.
Yes.
ATL season 2 or 3. I think it was season 2. I literally had like a ridiculously good team. Had one loss going to the finals. Won the last game of the season. I won to put Marv into the finals. He of course lost his last game to screw me over and play me first round, and then ran this transform Mew set. In the game, I was behind the entire game because he was outplaying me, and then I clawed my way back into it, set myself up for a Zygarde sweep, and he freaking lived. His Mew lived at plus 1,000 arrows with like 2 HP. Buried himself out of
Hiya,
extreme
Papa.
speed,
Yeah.
a Papa Berry out of range, and transformed into Zygarde and proceeded to reverse sweep me. I had never been so mad in my entire life. But we're getting off topic here. Um, that's Mew for you. Yeah, man, dude, I'm flustered now. Okay, Gumi. We're talking about Gumi, not Marv in Nightmares. Victini. He's known for his Victini. He's known for wall breaking. Gumi's to me when I think of Gumi highlight reels, it's like him one-shotting stuff with Victini and Kieran Black. He's only really got like from top tier wall breakers. He's only has Victini, so he's going to be have to be a little bit more creative this year. I think
That's a good point.
his team is a little bit more balanced from the defensive standpoint, which is maybe not always what he has. But Premier Wall Breakers, he's only got one this season compared to seasons past. I like Kingdra. I think Kingdra got moved down a tier for better or for worse. I don't think does Kingdra even have a weakness? It's got maybe one that's dragon typing, or has it got two with fairy?
Dragon and Fairy.
Dragon, so it's
I
got
think.
two. So it doesn't
I think.
have yeah, so it does, but it doesn't have a ton of weaknesses. It's got some pretty decent base stats for the value it is. I don't mind the mini rain core. I don't know if you need to commit yourself to a full rain team to try to run rain. It'll be interesting to see if he can prep well with it. It's a different question. But yeah, we've spent plenty of time on Gumi here. So Shaman gave it a rank of 11th. Um, Second worst team in the league. You ninth. I gave it a C, which is an average team with some weaknesses. Um, I'm comfortable moving on. What about you?
All right, let's move on.
Oh, and guess who we're talking about next? It's Marv himself, coach of the Lincoln Lanterns, 9-2, season three runner-up. After coming off the season one championship, he was trying to be greedy and get another championship before I had one, but we had to put that to a stop. Shaman PR ranking the second best team in the league. Um, pretty, I tend to agree with that. Your self ranking was 6. You can go in that more detail. And I gave this a B, which is strong core, small weaknesses, but can be played around. Yeah, so Tapu Koko and Zygarde. Oh my gosh, if I could, once this video is coming out really the night of, otherwise I put that weird gif where that guy's like leaning away from it and stuff like that. But anyways, um, yeah, Zygarde Tapu Koko Scissor is a serious Steel Fairy Dragon card. You can't get much more dangerous than that. I mean, this team is super scary from the offensive standpoint. We talk about wall breakers. There's very few Pokemon in Draft League format that I'll call team breakers, and Zygarde 50% is one of them. This Pokemon can just end games by itself if you don't prep well for it. Tapu Koko is a great pivot threat. You can talk about more on that in detail, I guess, if you want to. You've already had a team builder come out. Um, to not beat a dead horse, there's a little bit of anti-synergy on this team for me, which is maybe why I gave it a B instead of an A. It was very close to an A. This is probably a B plus if you want to, or an A minus. I'm not crazy about electric terrain with Snorlax. I understand why you drafted it, but again, you're limiting your options with that fact that you're taking things off you're limiting your options, and that if you did bring a rest Snorlax set, it physically can't, either you don't bring Coco or you have to play around when electric terrain is set, which can be interesting. Um, from the offensive standpoint, you're just loaded with threats. Coco, Gengar, Crobat can be run offensive, Incineroar, Raichu. Like I don't need to read your entire team off, but you could with this team for the offensive side. One thing I'm interested in seeing this season, and not that we've talked about this in a lot off recording, you're usually at your best when you have some sort of universal defensive switch in, like an Umbreon or Melodic in seasons past, that can just kind of stall teams out if they don't come ready. You still have good defensive checks, but I don't think they're as universal, like, safety blankets, which is, again, I'm more critical of you because we build together and I know you well, and I know you're very, very talented. So, any really thoughts? I mean, I guess to summarize mine, great offensive threats, good defensive core, but maybe a little bit more skill. Skill has to be used when using your defensive core. But overall, I put you as one of the best contenders already in the league with a very solid draft. Anything else you want to cover?
I mean, I think I covered a lot in my draft analysis recap video, but just I realized that it's definitely more of offensive team. I was kind of looking for that this year when I drafted Coco first overall, just kind of fast pivoting, um, you know. And I did want to kind of touch on my quad weak mons with Mega Scizor and the Zygarde 50, and then I picked up Seismitoad, kind of, pick your poison, which hidden power you want to run on which mon, and yeah, it should be pretty cool. I got only 2 Stealth Rockers, so, as a representative of Team Stealth Rocks,
I'm a little
I feel like I'm
disappointed in
kind of letting
you.
it down. Yeah,
I'm a little
but
disappointed in you for that, but it's okay. You can try hard instead of rep Stealth Rocks. It's fine. But yeah, no, overall, very solid team. You did a really good job in the draft. And again, free agency can fix stuff if Snorlax doesn't work out. Snorlax is an
yeah,
annoying
for
mon,
sure.
and
Kind of was getting on late on in the draft, and kind of didn't really know what to pick, to be honest with you. It's kind of things that I did want were going to compound some weaknesses, and I never used Snorlax before, so I wanted to give the big boy a try. But can always switch that out if I need. But
uh,
any other thoughts?
not real. We keep forgetting to talk about Z users, but oh well.
Oh yeah.
Tapu Koko, you got your premium offensive threats with Z crystals. Makes 100% sense to me. Yeah, I guess I'm ready to move on if you are.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, next we'll be talking about my boy Mikey, coach of the Wisconsin Wiscashes, which might be one of my favorite names of all the teams in our league. Pretty awesome. But so Mike's team, I like quite a bit. I'm I really like the Tangrowth Finny Zard Y core he's got going on there. Tangrowth is going to be, and the Tox effects, that's a great regenerator core. Going to be tough to break down. Um, having said that, I'm not the biggest Tapu Fini fan, but I know it can be used pretty darn well. Check out Lando season 2, used that pretty well, I believe. But yeah, it's got my boy Cobalion. Um, Swords Dance, Rock Polish. He's about to sweep a lot of people with that, especially with that Stelium Z option he's got there too. Not the biggest fan of Flygon. I don't know. I feel like it's also kind of linear, kind of predictable what he may or may not bring each week. A lot of the mons do the same sort of thing. I know Cobalion can be run physical or special, but primarily it's going to be a physical threat. Flygon, Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, Earthquake. So yeah, kind of predictable. But I don't know. He's got some good wall breakers on the special side. Kind of very specially based, to be honest, when I'm looking at this further. Zard Y, Thundi T, two of the best wall breakers
For sure.
ever. I don't know. So what do you think?
Tend to agree with most of your analysis, pretty much spot on. Shaman gave this a ranking of 8, you a 10, and then I gave this an average team with some weaknesses, average core with some weaknesses, with a C ranking. Tend to agree with you. Um, you know, the Tapu Fini Misty Terrain being paired with Toxapex is a little unusual because Toxapex is super passive. I mean, he can run Haze, obviously, but a good builder will build around Haze and find ways to take advantage of that. So it can't status people. So that it's a little bit, again, I would call it anti-synergy. Like one of your more effective ways of your wall that comes in and stops all people's offenses from happening could also kind of struggle from getting set up on if your opponent can be creative against it. Um, a lot of weaknesses to Hazard. You got Thunderous, Zard Y, which is going to be quad weak to rocks all the time. Scyther, Zatu, Thunderous. There's a
Yeah,
lot, and
good
then
point.
Frostlass. Like a lot of weaknesses to hazards. So again, and he does have hazard removal in Tapu Fini, um, Thunderous, and Zatu. But if you're forced to bring Zatu, I mean, again, it's an average core with some weaknesses. Not that he can't patch these up, but I'm interested to see. He's again when you start bringing a ton of stuff that's weak. That is weak to the best move in the game, you start to have problems. And if defog's your only way to really deal with hazards, then that means you're not using the best move of the game. So, for example, if I play Mike, he's not taking advantage of some of my rock weaknesses because he's got to keep rocks off the ground, rocks off the field himself. So, it can lead kind of to some interesting mind games involved in it. So, yeah, I expect good things from Mike. He was one of our. I think we had 3 or 4 teams finish 3-8. So I really either like have him look to separate himself and maybe pick up a couple more wins this season and start climbing and grinding out some points to get closer to those playoffs or even make the playoffs. With that being said, Cobelion, Thunderous, again, wall breakers with Z crystals are a common theme. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. You want to move on?
Let's move on.
All right. This is an interesting one, and I think one of the bigger differences in rankings you and Shaman might have off the top of my head. I haven't been paying attention super, but we got Adam, coach of the Pittsburgh Pre-Marinas, and low key, probably one of the scariest battlers in the league. He might not have the results that Lando, Marv, and I have had, but Adams always it feels like a play or two away from going the distance. I believe he's been in all 3 season playoffs. I believe he's made it to the finals once and then semifinals twice, but I can't remember season 2 off the top of my head, but a solid competitor. And guess what? He drafted a solid team. You ranked it the best team in the league, and you can go into details in a second. Shaman, a little bit more in the middle of the pack at 5th, which is it's kind of weird to see that. And again, I don't give out A's too much, but I gave this a B. Strong core, strong team with small weaknesses that can be played around. Adam, if you're watching this video, I don't know if you will. Um, you were by far one of the scarier people to play in the league for me last season. You had this like when I watch other people battle and prep for other people battle, I try to look at them and say like I write down like what do they do well, what don't they do well, and one of the things that you do very well that I'm going to try to emulate myself in future play is you're very good at mid-game spotting your win condition or the win condition you have remaining and playing to that win condition and setting yourself up to win that. You can check out his quarterfinals victory over Lando for that example of that. That he understands how he's going to win and he plays for that. I believe Adam beat you in the regular season, Marv, and he recognized very early how he was going to win the game and he played it out. You know exactly how he put himself in the best position to win is what I'm trying to say. So Adam is very dangerous while playing the game and very scary to play that. If you give him an opportunity to win the game, 9 times out of 10, Adam is going to take that victory and punish you for your mistake. So he's one of the best, you know, players, closers out. Sometimes his prep can maybe lack a little bit, but overall, Adam is one of the solidest battlers in the team. Now that I've praised Adam enough, his team, typical Pittsburgh team here coming at you. It's got a lot of bulk. It's got a lot of recovery and kind of not stall, but balanced fat offense, bulky offense, whatever you want to say, coupled with it, with then like some top tier offensive threats. Mega Lopunny has always been one of the highest kill gainers in the league every single season. You got Guard Chomp, which is always scary. Um, you got Cresselia, which is Reuniclus light. It's not quite as scary in my opinion as Reuniclus, but is a very very fat mon that can run away with games. Um, Shaman's great value for tier 3. I like the core for the most part. Looking at it off the top of my head, very few weaknesses that can be taken advantage of. I'm never super, and it's probably a playstyle thing to me. I don't think it's necessarily that I play the game the correct way, but I think it's just the way I enjoy playing the game. I don't like super passive cleric cores, so like breeding Vaporeon as a cleric and another mon coupled super supportive. Adam kind of falls into sometimes, but I've rambled on enough here. Do you have anything you want to add, Marv, about this team and about?
I think Adam's got a fantastic team, and I really, really like his bulk. He's got that Vaporeon Shaman core there that I did win the NBL Season 2 win. Shoutouts to Rich. But yeah, I love Shaman and Vaporeon together. It just so bulky. Vaporeon's a great wish passer. I want Adam to kind of break away from the I'm gonna sit here and be passive and pass wish. Show me the specs Vaporeon. Show me that Synchronoise Vaporeon. I want to see the heat. Cress, so bulky. Zapdos, so bulky.
It's
Can be run agility.
it's a Pittsburgh team for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely an Adam team. I really love. I've actually wanted to kind of draft this little core, the Zapdos Garchomp Lopunny for a while now. So I'm glad he did it. He drafted one of the best Lopunny checks in the game at Zapdos.
No kidding.
Shout outs to Cali Static there, but Static is so annoying. But Garchomp being able to be fat too, little rough skin, rocky helmet. I will say Klefki is a great mon, kind of funky to use. I know I can't use it well. We'll see how Adam does. He's got that Magmortar in the tier 5. Just pure power. This could be Adam's year. I really think so.
Yeah, before we lost each other, I kind of technical difficulties. Look behind the scenes. Yeah. I commented. We'll make this really quick before we move on, because time's starting to become an issue here. Adam's playstyle, or Adam's, we'll just call Adam's like killer instinct and his ability to close out games and how he recognizes win conditions and plays really well to his win conditions. You want to comment on that before we move on, or are you all set?
I'm all set. You covered it well.
Okay, so we're moving on here. We're rounding out this draft here. Oh, sorry again. There we go. Up next, we have Shy Crow here in the Gothberg Murkrows. Shy Crow, 4-7, came in at 7th place, but was a replacement coach, so I'll take that with a grain of salt. Shaman giving him the number one ranking in the PR, the best team in the league, no doubts. Marv also ranking top five. A fourth spot is pretty high. And then I think this is the only, I only gave out two A's off the top of my head. You guys are gonna make fun of me because I can't remember what I put on my own slides. Strong core, little to no weaknesses. This is a pretty scary team. This I'm again briefly looking at it. So go ahead, Marv, take it from here, and I'll add to your thoughts after that.
Well, just to kind of look at first glance, I always look at rockers, and I see two of the best rockers in the game in Crook, Lando T. Even shout outs to Miltank. Fortress is a little bit of a to me, but it's got the spikes and the T spikes. It's one of the only mons, or the only mon that gets access to all three of them, I believe. But so great hazards. He's got the quillfish with the spikes, T spikes. Yes, I really love that. Yeah, pretty well balanced team. Not a lot of glaring weaknesses. Perhaps he's a little weak to, and this could be said about any team really, but he's got a little problem with priority that I could see people using to attack him. But
Yeah,
man, he's
maybe.
got such breakers. Kieran Black, Alakazam with that special attack stat, Banded Crook, Lando T. I'm I will say I'm a little. I don't know what his plan is with. Oh, actually, I don't think we have the Z captains right on that.
Oh no, that must have been well, can't fix that one in post. Sorry guys. I think what was it? His was it was
It had to be
Kiram and
Kieran Black
something.
and something.
Maybe Kiram and Lando. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Oopsies. Moving on. Anyways,
Yeah, I kind of lost track where I was going with that. I don't know. Great team, Shykro, coming in mid-season last season, and really doing well. And I think he's going to make playoffs. I think he's going to be one of those top six teams. What do you think about his team,
uh,
Excessive?
again, little to no weaknesses upon first inspection. I don't play him for a while. Speed Tyrion looks amazing. I think he's got
Yeah,
Jolt clocking in at 130. What's Mega Zam speed? Isn't it ridiculous fast?
150.
It's ridiculously fast. So it's almost like not fair how fast it is. Um, yeah, I can't. He's got Lando T, and if the trend continues, he'll win a championship because he drafted Landorus. Yeah, not much really to say to add to what you said. Tons of hazards, tons of hazard removal. Um, yeah, I can't. I don't look forward to prepping for this team with my team, especially. I don't feel like the Detroit Dracos have the tools to handle this much heat, but who knows? Yeah, really solid team. Ignore the Z captains. First time YouTube video or something, something, something. All right, let's go ahead and introduce our next team. Go ahead, Marv.
All right, next up, folks, we have Eisenide, coach of the Lexington Leafeons. And you betcha he's going to come out rocking because I ranked his team fifth, and I feel strongly about that. He's got that Megalodios. It was not banned, but it was discussed, as you folks know, in the NPBL. I really like the Fairy Dragon Steel we got going on there. I don't know. I feel like Excadrill could have been a little bit different there, but great mon. He's got that Gigalith. Pretty good value in tier 4. It's a bulky boy. I'm not really too sure what Saucebuck does, to be honest with you, just in the tier 5, but it's a tier 5 pick. Could be his favorite mon. One of those things. He's got a little Muck, Webs option. For Webs and Blacephalon is super scary. Huge threat. I drafted Blacephalon in season 2, and I liked the guy a lot. I didn't bring it as much as I thought. It's pretty frail, but the right time and the right moment, it's going to break or just sweep stuff. Milotic, great bulk. It's a pretty well-rounded team. I don't see... He's... I guess he's only got 2 stealth rockers.
we always come back to the Rockers. If we want to criticize it, you could draft a team of 10 stealth Rockers, and we'd be like, it could use one more stealth Rocker.
Absolutely.
Best move in the game. All right, I gave it a grade B. Strong team, small weaknesses, but we can be played around. Yeah, he's got melodic. Malak can be kind of paired for a defensive core. Savalion, it's a completely different Pokemon. Um, very good defensive fairy type with offensive presence as well. That hyper voice, that pixelated hyper voice hurts a lot. Maybe, I guess if you want to be really nitpicky, has removals kind of unless I mean
Eh,
Latios can be run with defog, Noctowl, Defog. He's got extra with Rapid Smith, so he's got options. And so I guess if you're being really nitpicky, but maybe this team just jump off the jump off the page to me as some of my other A ranked teams. But again, this one's a borderline B plus A minus. Um, 1-10 record last season, but I think Eisen only played a couple games before a sub took over for him again, and he's coming back. So take that 1-10 record with a grain of salt. Um, yeah, interested to see what he does with this team. I think there's some solid mons with Muck. I love Lone Muck. I one season will draft it. Yeah, not much else to really say about this team. I think it's a really solid team. Uh, Defensive backstops look good. So yeah, I don't really have any major issue with this one. You want to move on?
let's move on.
And rounding out our NPBL Season 4 draft recap will be Rich, coach of the
Rich.
Canton Crocodiles. Rich coming over from other leagues. I've known Rich for a while. He took over for me in the RDL after my Season 2 run ended. He jumped in for Season 3 and proceeded to, I don't think he won a game. And then Marv defeated him in the, what finals was that, Marv?
NBL Season 2 Finals.
Shout out to the NBL Season 2 finals. Rich, man, we're glad to have you on board. Didn't play last season, so no ranking to really go off. You and Shaman agreeing. He's seventh ranked team. I gave him a solid C, average core, some weaknesses. Um, Keldeo. He likes Keldeo a lot. Not really much else to say about that particular fact. It's a good offensive water type. There's no doubt about that, and he's on a mission to prove that this year. Doug Trio, I really wanted Doug Trio. For some reason, Doug Trio, in my opinion, is tiered too low with its trapping ability. I could be wrong. He drafted Doug Trio like pick 2 or pick 3, and I was like, damn you, Rich. That's a good pick. I should have pulled the trigger earlier, but I was a weenie and didn't do it. Um, yeah, kind of a lot of ground types with Doug Trio and Hippowdon. And then throwing in the Tapu Bulu, as I guess is, I think Shaman mentioned this as well, is my major concern with the team. Is Dog Trio is a good trapper, but then if you're weakening its stab move, like, is it gonna be effective at its job? Like, it's gonna be kind of an interesting dynamic that I'm sure Rich has a plan for, and I'm going to want to see it. Giving Registeel boost grassy terrain recovery and weakening earthquakes that hit it makes sense to me, but outside of Registeel, um,
Arcanine.
Arcanine, that's another good one. And I guess with the Intimidate drop and the grassy terrain, that could go work really well together. But Arcanine also has Morning Sun, so it's not like the end all be all for recovery issues with it. So, but it does function well. That's a good point. Um, yeah, I don't know. Again, his defensive core isn't top tier. I don't see, like, I guess to you, what does his defensive core consist of, and will it really hold up under the scrutiny of the offensive slew of teams we have, like yours and Shaman's?
I know I was talking to him a little bit about stuff. And again, this isn't really typically a Marv style team. This is definitely rich style team with the Keldeo and the Latios. This being Mega Latios. I know he used regular Latios pretty well in the past. Speaking from personal experience, but yeah, I don't know. I see a defensive core of like a Arcanine, Hippo, kind of combination there, throwing in Registeel a bit too. I
Yeah,
don't know.
makes
It's it.
sense.
I have confidence in Rich as a battler. So I know he's gonna come up with really good sets each week, and really picking out his win con and his opponent's weaknesses and stuff. So kind of going with my 7th ranking, so kind of mid tier. The new guy, we'll see what he has. But yeah, welcome, Rich. Glad to have you. Um,
For sure.
Bulu power.
Yeah, so I tend to agree with him. Rich I was teasing Rich at the intro of this video, or the intro to his team, but solid battler. He'll bring another competitive player to this league to kind of not let things get stale and have the same few people always be towards the top of the table. And I expect some other people to step up their game as well, Gumi. Um,
Shy Crow.
and Shy Crow as well. I think we got a lot of
Gee.
we got a lot of people, a lot of threats this year. So I think this is the most exciting and wide open season for the NPBL we've ever had. Um, Closing thoughts here, Marv. We're wrapping up the video. You want to add anything, shout out anything before we kind of, close this video down here?
I will say that it is an honor doing a collaborative effort here on Team Stealth Rock's YouTube page with the Excessive. This is cool. I can't wait for the season to start. Look out, Adam. I think I play you week 1. Haven't started to prep yet, but look out. I'm coming for you. I guess that's all I got to say. What about you?
Yeah, I agreed with you. I'm really looking forward to producing more content. We've set a lofty goal of trying to produce weekly content for you guys. So we'll see how that goes. Um, yeah, that's really all I have to say is check out TSR Marv and TSR Excessive on our for YouTube channels. We're trying to produce mostly MPBL focused content. Depending on how I feel, maybe a little bit of other stuff, but for the time being, this is my plan. Um, yeah, looking forward to a competitive season. Take this stuff with a grain of salt, guys. This is coming out on don't mean to time stamp it, but a Monday work schedule for me and Marv just didn't work out this week, so we didn't have a ton of time to prep. So some of the video is not as polished as I would like it to be, but hey, man, you get what you get when you come to the NPBL. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching the video. Marv, you want to do the outro for us here?
This is Marv, and it's been real. Team Stealth Rocks out.
It's the best move in the game.